Hi guys. Today we're going to do something that is very common in normal life and real life. Um, if you take out a loan, sometimes you want to end the loan or you want to pay off. Maybe you inherit a lot of money and you want to pay off the loan before the time that you allocated with the bank. Because when you go to a bank and you take out a loan, you make you have a contract with the bank, say over 20 years. So if you want to end your loan because you want to pay it off earlier, it's not just I'm going to pay off what I think is left. There's a specific way to work that out. So after this lesson, you'll be able to work out at any point of time what is the loan that you still owe to the bank. Doesn't even matter what you paid up to then. The most important part is what you still owe to the bank, because that is what you still need to pay off. And because there's interest involved, and because when you start paying back a loan, the first payment is basically only interest. The next payment is a lot of interest and a little bit of capital. The next payment is a little bit less interest and a little bit more capital. So only when you get to your last payment, you pay back mostly capital and just a little bit of interest. So that's why we say it's a reverse working from the future value annuity. And that's why the formula is also different. Good. Now, there are two ways of doing this. Now, normally, one has got one method that you prefer. So I prefer method one, because it's one formula, you do it and you get your answer. But sometimes it's better to use formula or method two, especially if there's only about 1 month left at the end. We'll do a lesson later on where I will explain that again, and then you can use the second method, although I definitely prefer the first method. If you just look at the two methods, the first one is the normal P formula. Outstanding balance is your normal P formula. There you can see it's the absolute normal P formula, but very, very important, that N there, now I'm going to write it again, is the outstanding period. Because remember, you want to find out what is still left of your loan so that you can pay it off at once. So if you use this method where you only use one formula, that's why I like this method, is one formula and it's done. You use the normal P formula, but when you get to your N, it's not where you are at, it's what is left over of your loan. So it's actually very easy. If you want to use the other formula, you work out, there's still the P, the end, the loan. You work out what is your loan with your interest at that stage, minus the payments you made with your interest at that stage, and then you will know what you still owe to the bank. And there's the two formulae. You know A formula is just P1 plus I to the power of N. The F formula is the normal F formula, but now it's two formula that you need to do and subtract from one another, and it gives you the same answer as method one. That's why you can see I prefer method one. But let's look at an example. Okay. A loan of 1.3 million is taken out. So you agree with me, that is my P, that is the loan I'm taking out to buy a house. Now that is a real life thing. You want to buy a house, 1.3 million. The bond has to be repaid over 20 years. This is your N. At the interest rate of 10.5, that is your I, compounded monthly. Now if you take out a loan, as I said previously, in 99.9% of the times you are paying back monthly. Just make sure that it says monthly, but mostly all of the times it's monthly. So let's check. There's your three pieces of information that is given. What are they asking? Calculate your monthly payments. You agree with me? X is your monthly payments. So let's go in where there's space. There's your 1.3 million. I made a timeline. There's your 10.5%, which I don't like at all. So I'm going to just do it 0.105. This is how it was given in the example. But because it's monthly, you're going to divide it by 12. So that is your I. And then it's 20 years. But remember, it's now months. So that 20, I'm going to multiply by 12, which gives you 240. And this is all now in months. So your whole problem in your formula will now be on months, which is good because we always have to use the same value. Good. Let's write down our formula. Good. The minute you've written down your formula and you already got your I and your N, you see I never start any problem if I haven't written down my I and my N first. same period, same time slot. Good. The P I can fill in, 1.3 million. Make sure of the amount of zeros. Can you see I leave a space after every 1,000? That makes it easier to make sure that you've got the right amount of zeros. The X I don't know. I could have filled in the I. Let's fill it in. It is 0.105 over 12. 0.105 over 12. But now if you want the X all alone, remember, you need to get rid of all this stuff. The fraction at the bottom is furthest away, so you're going to multiply the 1.3 with that. Multiply with 0.105 over 12. And then you still have the bracket next to the X, which has been multiplied to the X. You want to get rid of it, so you must divide by it. So this whole thing on the left-hand side, you divide with 1 minus 1 plus 0.105 over 12 to the power of minus 240. Can you see I'm not using the square bracket? You can if you want to, but because that dividing line also serves as a bracket, I do not really have to. Now, if you take your calculator, remember, you slot it into the fraction slot. You press all the stuff on the top, then you go down with the cursor to the bottom stuff. When there's a bracket, you press bracket. Just be very careful. If you press that to the power of minus 240, the minus is this little minus on your display on the top. The minus with the bracket. I'll quickly do that. That one is the minus inside the bracket here on the top. It's not your normal subtracting minus. And if you do all of that, you get the answer of 12,978 Rand and 94 cents. Good. That amount is your monthly payments. Now let me just clarify something. I've rounded off to 0.94 cents. So actually, it's not a very, very accurate answer. But in our school maths, it is okay if you round off per problem. This is question A. Because I'm busy with question A, I need to give an answer for question A, and then for the rest of the sum, I may use the rounded off answer. If it's just one big sum, and there's not a subsection A, B, C, D, so you don't need to give specific answers, you just need to get to your final answer. You're not supposed to round off inside a problem. So if you then do this and you still need to use it in the same problem, you have to slot it into your memory. You have to say shift store in my memory A, and then later on retract it so that you do not round off inside a problem. But for school purposes, if there's different subsections, you can round off each one, and now for the rest you can use the rounded off one. Let's just see the next question. What is the outstanding balance after 8 years? So now I need to go years somewhere. Time period 8. Now, it depends if your timeline is in years or in months. We didn't say yet. It was 20 years. So I'm just going to do 20 there, and then I'm going to remember this is in years. So if I change it, this is what I did there. I change it to months, so it's times 12. If it is 8 years, I need to change the 8 years as well to become months. Good. Now, if I do, let's just go to the next page. So let's just get it back here. If I do time 8, it means the 8th year. So now, it's not 20 years anymore because that was the previous one. So let's just scratch that. Let's do the I here. I is 0.105 over 12. And my N is, now before I do my N, this is years. I need to change it into months. But remember what I said about outstanding balance. If you use the formula for outstanding balance, I'm busy with my I and my N. I'm just going to write down the formula so it makes sense. If I do the formula, can you remember what I said about that N? If you want the outstanding balance, you cannot use the previous 8 years balance because that's not what you want. You want the outstanding balance. So you want to know from the 8th year to the 20th year, how many years are there? 12 years. So N is 12 years, but remember I'm working in months. So I need to multiply it by 12, so I get my 144 months. Are you with me? So make very sure after 8 years, you want to know what is your outstanding balance. The original was 20, so maybe it's good that the 20 years is there because that was the very end. This is up to this is what the bank made a deal with you for 20 years. So if you want to end it before that, you need to find out outstanding what is still left there. So if I fill this all in, now remember you worked out your value now, the payment that you made. Let's just quickly write it down. The payment was 12,978 Rand and 94 cents. You remember this is the one that I said you may reuse the rounded off one because this is now question B. So it's a different question, and that's why you could have used the rounded off value. 1 minus 1 plus, the interest is still the same. It didn't change through the whole sum, to the power of minus 144. All over 0.105 over 12. Good. That is a lot of stuff to slot in. Again, you use your calculator, you use the fraction button, you slot in the whole top. Be very sure that you put this last bracket, which we many times leave out, after you went to the right with your cursor, and then only you go to the bottom, and if you click equals, it gives you 1,060,249 Rand and 5 cents. Outstanding. Good. Now, if that is my outstanding value, 1 million, remember what you borrowed, 1.3 million. But remember, this is all with interest. And over 20 years, you're going to pay a lot of interest. So that is why the next question says, let's go back there quickly. How much capital and how much interest was paid by the end of 8 years? How much capital and how much interest was paid over those 8 years? Because then I will know what is the interest that I've paid. So let's just quickly go here. I haven't got a lot of space there anymore, so I'm just going to go here. When we started off with our loan, it was 1.3 million Rand. You agree? When I worked out now, at the end of 8 years, 8 years is 96 months. Remember, we used 144 in our formula because I used the method where you take the outstanding amount, which was 144 months. So it gave me the value of 1,060 Rand, 249 Rand and 5 cents. If you subtract those two from one another, do you agree with me? That is the loan that you paid. So here is the loan that you actually paid off. But now, what did you actually pay monthly? You remember our very first problem was in number A. This was number A's answer. This was the little amount X that you paid monthly. For how many months did you pay it now in those 8 years? You paid it for 96 months. So if you multiply it by 96 months, you get the actual amount of money that you paid. Now, think carefully. The actual amount of money that you paid and the physical loan that you paid off. If you subtract those two from one another, it will tell you what interest you paid. So there's the actual payments. And the loan that you paid, which you worked out previously. So the difference is this amount that you see there, 1 million and whatever. It's good enough to just say 1 million and bad enough that you've paid so much interest. But that is life, especially if you buy something big like a house. You're really going to pay a lot of interest over so many years. So the interest that you physically paid in those 8 years only is already 1 million Rand. And that is why if you buy a house, in the end, you pay the house 3 to 5 times. It depends on the interest rate. It depends on the amount of years you've got. But if you work it out, you actually, when you take out a loan, are paying that amount double, triple, 5 times because of the interest. So best thing in life is if you do not take out a loan, But unfortunately, for a house buy, very few people can just buy a house. You have to take out a loan. But for other things, try and save rather and don't take out loans, because you see how high the interest is in the end. So let's just quickly go back. I need to take off the answers so that you can do it on your own. So let's just go back here. Now, if you redo this all on your own, please make your summary as you read the sum. Make sure that you number each subsection. So when you go now to your answers, I'm going to leave the blank page here because you need to go and do it all on your own. So I'll just take all of this off so that you have a nice clear start, that you can see what you're doing. The same for this question B. And I think the rest was not written on. Good. So there was A's answer. There was the preparation for number B, the outstanding period. Now, I just want to show you the different method. Or, let's just get the pen. Or, at the bottom here, you can see this is the F, or the A, rather, minus the F. If you think about it clearly, the A is your loan times the interest that you got for 8 years, minus the payments that you made for 8 years, and that gives you exactly the same answer. Look here at the bottom. You get exactly the same answer except for the rounding off. If you round off, because you're doing two sums here, it gives you a little bit different answer than the one on the top. But as I say, both methods are in the matric paper memos, so they allow both of those. It's close enough if you think it's around a few cents actually out, and that is totally fine. We take both answers into consideration. So if you want to use the second method, it's just a bit longer. That's why I prefer the first one. The second method works on the beginning period. 8 years, what is the value of the loan? What is it worth? Minus, what is the payments you made in 8 years? And remember, the payments you made is like a future value. What is the future value at the end of 8 of the payments you made? That's why you use the F formula. And if you subtract the two, you get the difference. If you just use the first method, it's the minus N, which represents, and I'm just going to do that, that represents the outstanding period. So it's your choice which method you're going to use, but as I say, they're both easy. And this is the last page we did. So this is probably the most difficult problem you can get, because you really have to keep your head, you have to think what you're doing. But if you do it on a timeline, you must just don't mix up the two methods. Decide when you do this unit, decide which method you're going to use and stick to that method so that you don't get confused between the two. Because the first method is for the outstanding period. The second method is for the beginning period. So it's totally different, but they give the same answer. So there's some exercises for you to practice on. More than one slide so that you can get a good practice on it. And I'm sure after you've redone the one that we did and you do the 2 extra pages, you will be fine with balance outstanding. It's a very common exam question, so you have to be able to do it. So go practice it. Good luck. I'm sure you're going to do fine.